warning has been lifted. We know of at least 8 people who've been hospitalized. Here's the OSU police chief.
About 9:52 a.m., a male suspect drove a vehicle over the curb, West 19th, west of College Avenue, struck pedestrians. He exited the vehicle and used a butcher knife to start cutting pedestrians. Our officers was on scene in less than a minute, and he ended the situation less than a minute. He engaged the suspect, and he eliminated the threat. The suspect is DOA. The investigation is ongoing. I want to thank officers for doing a great job. They did what they were trained to do.
Rob Schmidt has more. Right, Rob, what do we know at this point?
Well, Shannon, a 1 p.m. news conference has really cleared up so much confusion on this, giving us a lot of much-needed information on exactly what happened. The details were really strange there for a while. Campus police say just before 10 a.m., a man intentionally drove his vehicle into a crowd of students right outside of Watts Hall on the OSU campus. Police say calls came into 911 reporting the accident, but the suspect then jumped out of the car and started attacking people with a butcher knife. The campus immediately went into lockdown. Students near Watts Hall told to run, hide, or fight as a last resort. Students not in immediate danger were told to shelter in place. A remarkably quick response from the hero police officer in this could be the reason at this point that no students were killed. Police say that within 1 minute of the call to 911, that officer arrived there on the scene and shot and killed the suspect, the knife-wielding suspect, as he attacked defenseless students who were going to and from their Monday morning classes. In all, 9 students taken to the hospital, 1 in critical condition this afternoon. The other 8 are in stable. Watts Hall houses materials, science, and engineering schools at Ohio State, which is a massive campus, around 60,000 students on the north side of Columbus. This afternoon, the campus president said the university was prepared.
This is obviously a tragic situation and something that, as Andy was saying earlier, we prepare for every year. Our students, our faculty, our staff are all trained because we've seen things like this happen around the country, and the best that we can do is to be prepared and then respond appropriately.
And Shannon, really a horrifying story, but the one positive was the preparedness of campus police, that officer arriving in 1 minute and ending the threat within 1 minute of arrival.
Yeah, very quick response there, Robin. What are we hearing from Governor Kasich? I understand he's spoken out a little bit on what's happened.
Yeah, Shannon, and a nod to the great police work from Ohio's Governor John Kasich, releasing this statement. My thoughts are with the victims of this attack right now, and I pray for their safety and recovery. I am grateful for the professional, coordinated response from first responders whose efforts helped effectively contain this incident before further harm could be done. We are still waiting to learn information on the suspect who has been killed, including his name. Terrorism at this point has not been ruled out. Shannon.
All right, Rob, we have so much to be thankful for our first responders every single day. Never know when they're going to face this kind of situation and do so well. Rob, thank you. Joining us now for more on the story, Steve Loomis, detective with the Cleveland Police Department and president of the Cleveland Police Patrolmen's Association. All right, Steve, great to have you with us. Let's talk about a little bit about what we heard about in that press conference that Rob talked about there. Police officials saying that this person jumped a curb, drove into pedestrians who obviously were defenseless and probably caught completely off guard, then got out and started stabbing them. What does that say to you about what exactly went down here?
Well, it's absolutely pre-planned, in my mind anyhow, to pull a fire alarm to get everybody outside. That's the key to that.
Well, and that's been a question too, because that came up in the press conference. There have been reports, so people know, that there was somebody who had pulled a fire alarm and that sent people outside where they would have been in the path of this car. Somebody asked a question about that at the press conference, and it didn't seem like we got a full-fledged answer on exactly what may have happened, because then that, of course, raises the question whether somebody was working in concert with the person who was driving the car. And it seems unclear at this point.
Or it could have been him. And the investigation will pan out, but the men and women of the police department up there did an outstanding job. The students did an outstanding job. It's unfortunate that we have to train our students to be prepared for these types of situations in this country. We had a similar event up here at Case Western Reserve College in downtown Cleveland years ago, and it's just a tragedy that we have to expect these things and train and prepare everybody for them, but they were well prepared and they did an outstanding job.
Yeah, I mean, to neutralize this threat within a minute of getting a call and arriving on scene, pretty incredible. And we know that they've talked about running these drills, being prepared for these situations. Something I thought was unusual, a number of the witnesses said that the attacker apparently was silent during this whole thing, wasn't saying anything, wasn't giving anything that would have been a clue as to motive. What does that say to you about maybe the mental stability of this individual or the motivation as this was going on, that they said not a word?
Yeah, you know, I would be hesitant to even guess, but most people that go around with a hatchet trying to kill people are crazy in some way, shape, or form. You know, so the investigation will pan out. I'm sure the FBI and the feds are involved in it now. To
Here's
find
your
out
up to the
and
minute.
search homes and things like that. So they're going to do a fine job with the investigation to lead us to a motive and those types of things. So,
well, they're calling it an active crime scene. Obviously, this just hours ago transpiring, and saying that there's very much just the start of this active investigation going on. What will be the next steps? You talked about reaching out and branching out from here. How do they put this puzzle together?
well, they'll get this individual identified. They'll get phone records. They'll get computer records. They'll get warrants for his house or campus dorm or wherever it is that he stays. They'll do some Facebook surfing and they'll get to the bottom of what the motivation is, one way or the other. Trust me on that. And they always do. The feds and they do a very good job in looking into these types of situations. And unfortunately, you know, there's people that live among us that want to do us harm. You know, these kids are just going to school, trying to get an education, and didn't deserve that.
How
but
much?
they did a great job.
How
The
much do you
students did a great
worry
job.
as a law enforcement officer? How much do you worry about the fact that there are these targets, I mean, college campuses, malls, whatever it is, where you don't expect to have a lot of people on campus or in the area who are going to be expecting this, maybe armed with weapons of their own for self-defense? You know, what do we begin to do to reassure
That's all, folks.
college students, parents of college